Hello, my name's Penny and welcome to Penelope's Chinwag. He's laughing, see, this is about a 17th take. It's so easy when I do it on my own, but when he's on board, it's terrible. Anyway, he's on board this week, telling one of his stories. So welcome to you all. Welcome if you're a new viewer. It's usually about what I've done in the last few days since my last episode, which has been a little bit longer because I haven't felt too well, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. And I'll show you what I've been up to, my knitting, and all of that. Let's just see what the episode brings. So yes, this is Pete. Some of you may know him from before, but he hasn't done anything for a little while, have you? And you can't fidget in that chair. Actually, it's his mum's dining chair. That's how old that chair is. She got that when she first got married.
20 something?
No, not 1920. I think early 30s.
Oh, right.
Yeah, early 30s she was married. And we've still got the 4 dining room chairs, so creak, creak. Anyway, Pete's going to tell you a little. He came across something and said, well, I could tell your viewers about that. So I said, well, let's have a bash, but we'll see how it goes. What is it you want to talk about then, Pete?
The days of Benjamin Edgington.
And who are they?
They were a company that did marquees and tents and anything to do with linen.
Okay.
You know, they...
tents and marquees is enough, yeah.
And
I always say to Pete, don't say because if Pete says because, then he goes down this long winding road, he gets lost and then asks me at the end. So we'll have no because and then we'll have no... Yeah, marquees are great.
Marquees do, won't they?
That's it.
Big marquees, though,
big
not
ones.
small ones.
Okay.
And
what were they for?
Well, mostly for big events, you know, which were going on around the
Henley?
capital. Henley Royal Regatta, Farnborough Air Show.
Okay. Well, you were involved in those, weren't you?
I was involved in those.
I mean, I remember we had a Dalmatian dog and he was a puppy then and he was too much for me. And when Pete was doing the Henley Regatta, he said, I'll take him with me. I thought, oh, how marvellous. And you took him, didn't you?
Yeah. It's about 2.5 miles along the course. So I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
But where
all along the River Thames.
And there was all toilets and showers and more toilets, ladies' toilets, you know, gents' toilets. And we were fitting them all in because because everything was there.
Right.
And you just had to put it all together.
Right.
And then at the end of the show, it was all taken away and it was just a grass field. But they had petrol station tanks sunk into the ground. Oh. And then the old lorry used to come round all the time, well, more than one, about 4 lorries when it was all going and just sucking all the stuff out, you know.
Well,
very interesting.
But anyway, you took the dog.
You didn't think you were going to get this one.
No.
Well, anyway, I took Boot.
Yeah.
Because he was rather frisky and
you
know, he liked to rush about a bit. So anyway, the first day, when I got there, I'd get him out, let him go out the car, and he'd go on the van, and he'd run by the side of me when I went up to do this, and then I'd come all the way back. It was about, as I said, a couple of miles. And he'd follow me until it's time to go home. Then he'd jump in the car and he'd snuggle down, and off we go home. And then the next day, coming, but he was up, you know, raring to go. And Wednesday, same, Thursday. And then Friday, he was laying in his bed and he's, you know, and I said, you come in, and he just got his arm, like his front legs, and just put it over his head like that and went back to sleep. So obviously I'd worn him out.
It took 4 days.
It took them all that time.
Yeah, well, they're carriage dogs, Dalmatian, and he was a bit of a handful.
I don't know what happened. Did he sleep all day that day?
I think he must have done. I had a good week anyway. So what is it you can tell us about?
Yeah, but the thing is, we also, Edgington's also did the garden parties at the Buckingham Palace.
Right.
And also the investitures. And when they was doing the investitures, they had a special little room on the just opened out onto the patio. But they had this room which could be there was a thing in there that linked to the toilets, and we used to go and put the toilet in there, and overflow toilets in case they needed it. Very seldom used, but that was just in case. So I did it, and for the first couple of days when I was fitting it up, I just used to drive in through the side gate of the palace, and I did bib hooter, and the little bloke with a peak cap used to open the doors, and I'd give him this, which was my pass, which says
just a typed piece of paper.
And it says the undersigned Mr. PJ is employed by us at Buckingham Palace until, and they haven't filled that bit in because they didn't know, and then I had to sign it, and that was it. Benjamin Edgington
so just
Limited.
Until any time. Did you ever show that?
Oh, I had to show it.
You had to show it.
I just went, and he went, okay.
Yes.
And
but I mean, it is literally just a card, like you have a card with a blue line on it. And I mean, somebody's just typed that out. 7th of the 7th, 1975, just written. So that was the way you got into Buckingham Palace.
Simple.
Just by
and
at
one time, because I was working from the garden end.
Yes.
But then when I got there, I just had a little bit to do, and the blokes had been in because they used to crimp the sheets, this sheet, and bring it down, and when you went in, it looked. You would not know it was a tent.
Right.
Because it was all that pleated.
Right.
And
the marquee, you mean, inside?
Inside,
yes.
It was absolutely amazing.
Yes.
But to get there, because it had all been closed off from outside, I had to then get into the palace.
Right.
And all they did said, hang about there and we'll get a footman.
Right.
And 2 minutes later, this little footman come along, and he took me all through the palace, all down these little. They were only little corridors, a big long corridor, but they all had all these paintings either side of people from old kings and old queens and that. But I never got actually into the palace.
No.
But it just took me to. But it was a long way round, so. I thought, crumbs, and I'm thinking about it today, you'd have armed guards, you'd have to have 14 of those, a different one every day, but I just used to roll up, in and out, boom, boom, that's it.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. How things have changed.
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks for telling us that.
That's all right.
And you take your coffee and I'll just carry on now,
shall
I? Well, do you want to sit here?
Not particularly.
No. We'll say cheerio.
I'm going to play on my guitar. Not my guitar.
Oh, he doesn't play the guitar.
I want to get that repaired.
Oh, he does. He's been watching the repair shop. Oh,
I have.
Do you watch that? Okay. You take the chair with you.
I can't take it with me because it lives over there.
That's it.
Right, see you later, folks.
Yes.
Maybe.
I can relax now. Oh, well, hello. So that's his, he just found this card and he said, do you imagine just popping into the palace like that? And it's something he remembers, 1975. Just this torn bit of paper, really. Well, there we are, how times have changed. So, nice to see you. As I say, I nearly didn't come on. It's the most gorgeous day here. It's Saturday, September the something, I can't quite know, about the 24th or something like that. And it'll tell me, won't it, if I go up there? Let me see if it does. 23rd, Saturday the 23rd, here he comes. What do you want, love?
I just want these.
Ah.
Thank you.
What can I do? Yes, I'm in. Oh, it's sort of something else.
The glasses are there.
Oh, this is something different, isn't it? If you're a new viewer, it's not usually like this.
What, chaos?
Yes, chaos.
It's organised chaos.
Okay, if you could shut the door.
I will.
It's hard to know where to sit. I'm sitting on the threshold of the conservatory and my lounge because it's such a sunny, beautiful day. We've been out for a lovely walk, actually, and here in the southeast, it's just beautiful weather. Anyway, I haven't been well. That's why I haven't been to say hello. I had a dreadful cold after I went away with my daughter last episode and came back and just, I did feel poorly. Yes, proper like flu, you know. I thought it was COVID, but it wasn't, or it didn't show up as anyway. And then that was fine. And Kim actually came to stay a couple of days. And I was really pleased. We didn't do anything. She said, Mum, we're not doing anything. Pete cooked us breakfast, lunch and dinner. We sat and chatted in the conservatory. And on the last day, she said, I do wish I could knit. I said, but you can knit, Kim. And she said, I know I can knit, but I can't actually knit. I said, what's stopping you? She said, well, it's having all those stitches on the needle. When you crochet, because Kim, if you didn't know, she just couldn't do any crafting at all. But over Zoom during lockdown, I taught her how to make quilts. And now she can quilt. She does embroidery. She makes the most beautiful quilts. Then she taught herself how to crochet. Super. She's done blankets and goodness knows what else. But she wants to knit. But she can knit. So I said, well, what is it about knitting that you don't like? She said, it's having all those stitches on a needle, Mum. And I thought, well, what difference does it make if you have one stitch or all those stitches? Well, she said, if you make a mistake, you have to pull it all, it's just, no. So I said, well, shall I show you what to do if you make a mistake? Get a crochet hook, go to that mistake, drop the stitch, crochet it up, and you put it right. Well, it was like a miracle for her, an absolute miracle. So, of course, she said, oh, Mum, that's amazing. I want to knit the Habitation Throw by Helen Stewart. I'd knitted one for my mum, and of course it's here now, and she loves it. So, yes, I want to make the Habitation Throw. So she's gone away on holiday to Sicily, and she sent me a picture of her Habitation Throw. She's only done about that much, but, they're on holiday, and well done, she can do it. So she's got over the fear of having a lot of stitches on a needle. Why? Because she knows how to put the mistake right. I mean, even if you cabled round the wrong way, you don't have to pull it all back. You can just drop those stitches, cable it round the right way, and with a crochet hook, pull them up. Once you know how to do that, well, it's a complete change, isn't it? So I'm glad to say that she's knitting, which is lovely. So then after that, a couple of days, that was nice. And then I thought, I'm feeling a bit emotional. What's going on here? Shingles. I went down with shingles. Well, it wasn't nice at all. In fact, I looked up the word shingles. Here he comes.
I just want to give a rough idea. Sorry, that's the sort of thing they did. That's in the early days, but they didn't change much. That was all there.
Oh, well, yes, all the beautiful striped inside of the tents. That's how beautiful they were. Not just a marquee, something very special. Could you shut the door, please?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I will indeed.
Thank you. I can't remember what I was saying now. Oh, yes, I looked up the word shingles, and it actually means belt, and that's exactly what I had from here to here. The most painful of rashes. I felt dreadful. So I've been in bed for another week. However, I telephoned my darling next door neighbour, who is our local apothecary, and she has the lovely Broadstairs apothecary shop. And I said, Bettina, I feel so poorly. So I got, special cream, special tincture, special tablets. I took those and I feel better. I feel better today. Yesterday I started to, and I just went out for a small little walk. But today Pete and I have been out because it's so beautiful. The sun is shining. I'll put a little film at the end. And yeah, we went out for a nice walk right round. And we saw the donkeys, people feeding the donkeys. And in the town, it was just lovely. So there we are. I'm feeling better. So I thought I better come on and say hello because time passes so quickly, doesn't it? So at first when I was poorly, let me show you this. I've got to try and get it all off without moving the mic. When I think it was the early 80s, might have been middle 80s, but Bramley Hedge did a series of embroideries and I did them. And do you know what? They came out so beautifully. And they're I haven't got them, but the family's got them. And I wish I could do them again because they are beautiful. One day I will. Well, I'll try. But you need the pattern, don't you? And you can't get the pattern anymore. But I saw Closet and Bots. Is it in here? Oh. Anyway, Closet and Bots in Lewis. Yes, here's their card. Closet and Bots. To Penelope, thank you for your order. Heather. Couple of girls who run the shop in Lewis. And it's a lovely store. And I saw the 2024 calendar for Bramley Hedge. And I wasn't much looking forward to January 2024. You know, I'm not very good with the winter at all. I can't stand it. No. Well, I'm not too bad with January, February, but I don't like December at all. And I didn't really want to buy a new calendar. But I thought, well, yes, because it will make me start filling out January as things happen. And so this is one of the embroideries I did. It's beautiful snow and all their little tails. I mean, you could really trace that and embroider that round. Let me look on the back. Oh, it's just gorgeous. Look at this one. Can you see? And there's so much to look at on the front there. Created by Jill Barklam. So that's my acquisition. So that will go up, and I know it'll be October at the end of the week, but it soon goes, doesn't it? Anyway, so that's one of my acquisitions. When I was in bed with shingles, you know, you look through, don't you? And you get emails. And well, what shall I show you? I finished my shawl. I'm making a shawl for the women in my family. Each one. And this is Georgina's, my granddaughter. And she's got 2 children, Mila, who's coming up for 4, and George, I don't know how old he is. He was born February the 6th. And this is hers. The wool is from, it's beautiful. I wish you could see it in real life. I have shown you it on previous episodes. But it's absolutely this is so pretty. Oh, it's lovely. Her favourite colour is yellow. Isn't that lovely? Silk, Surrey alpaca and cashmere. That's what it's made from. I've just got a ticket here for another ball. I just want to double check that. Yes. 70% baby alpaca, 20% silk, and 10% cashmere. And it feels like it. Look at the drape. It's just beautiful. Silver River Shawl by Helen Stewart. So I'm knitting the two shawls. Some are getting the Silver River and some are getting Sunset Skies, and this is the Silver River, which I'm now knitting. Whoopsie. Oh, it's one of those episodes, isn't it? I'm now knitting for my other granddaughter Lois. She wants the same one, and she's a very neutral colour. She likes neutral colours. I did knit her a lovely white really jumper a few months ago. It was all cables. I don't know if you remember that, if you've seen that one. So this is going to be wrapped up for her, for Georgie. And now I'm knitting, I'll tell you the colours, same style. I've got the colours here. I got it from Ellie, Craft House Magic. And this is called Sandy. And the other one's called On the Beach. And it's such good names. I think she gets her names from songs, but they're absolutely right for the wool. Anyway, now I've gone and mucked the colours up. This has got, I don't know if you can see, little bits of blue. Well, it's coming out as a bit, yeah. It's very faintly blue, and can you see that? It's very hard on screen. And this is the Sandy. So On the Beach, is it? Did I say? Yes, On the Beach. You can see why that's On the Beach. And this is Sandy. You might be able to see the little bits of blue in that now. And again, it's so beautiful. Oh, so it's lovely to knit with. My hands just love it. So I haven't long started that. Let me show you. That's where I'm at. I've just started that On the Beach colour. Very, very simple. All knit, except for this little bit here where you make a little star. So that's my easy knitting. I know the pattern off by heart. The magpies are going potty. I know it off by heart. It's very, very simple. You just keep making it grow by increasing at the ends, and then you do short rows. I'll put this here. That's it. Let me show you where that bit is here. So on this one, it's that bit there. And then you do the short rows, and that's how you get the crescent shape. Ooh, hard to show you. So that's some easy knitting for me. Some more easy knitting. I'm knitting Pete some socks. And for that, I'm using John Arbon. And he likes this sock, and it's quite hard wearing. It's not the flavour of that. You know, it's not the Surrey alpaca, but then you don't want that on your feet because it'd soon wear out. That's the wrong ticket. Now just let me get my book. My book's here. I made a book to keep my notes in and do my rows. You know, I can cross off the rows and keep myself to where I am. And this is Exmoor sock, 4-ply, and it's Fuzz Pig, Fuzzpig. And I'm knitting the basic ribbed sock. I'll show you. There it is. I've done him a nice long sock because it's a really woolly wool, and I think it will keep him warm in the winter. I always do my socks top down. I did do one toe up just to see if I could do it, and I can, but I just like it this way. I don't know why. I like the heel. So this is 3x1 rib. Goes straight into the heel there. And I got that from Custom Socks. Finally knit socks that actually fit, whether you knit them toe up or top down, getting just the right fit. Kate Atherley sets out to teach knitters of all levels to get them to fit. And the pattern there's so many lovely patterns in here, and they're not too difficult, you know, and they're all different. I mean, the first bit is really how to get the sock to fit. All of that bit of the book is how to, do it right, which is super and easy reading. And then I did the basic ribbed sock. And that's what it is, a basic ribbed sock. Incorporates a simple 4-stitch rib pattern, knit 3, purl 1 throughout the leg, because this stitch pattern doesn't affect the gauge. Well, so she's all about gauge and getting them to fit properly. So yes, so that's how far I've got. I've just done one. So again, easy knitting for me, just to cast on another one and I'll be there. So I feel happy with that. I like to pick up, I don't like having loads of things on the go. I'm a pretty monogamous knitter, but it's nice to have different walls for your hand, and it's nice just to have little, bits and bobs. But I'm working on them all. They're not getting put in the corner, Well, I bet you're wondering how PJ is. Oh, I hope the mic's still in with that. Yes. I bet you're wondering how PJ is. Well, he's finished. Mouche and friends. Mouche. But in our house, he's called PJ. Yeah, Peter John. And Peter John, as you know, has always been a polar bear. Happy on his ice floe. People can get on his ice floe if they want, if he fancies it. But if they're not there, he's quite happy. So, yeah. And so I decided to knit Mouche, the bear. He's knitted all in one, so there's no sewing on of limbs, and he's finished, but he's not stuffed. Here he is. He's washed. Oh, I put a couple of pictures up here. I put him in a little bath, which was an ice cream tub, and I washed him. And then he had a little lay on the side of the bath, and he dried off. And he's now totally dry, but flat. He's feeling a bit flat, aren't you? But do you know what? He's totally happy in his own skin. I like that. Some of you said he looks happy, he's confident. I love his little heels. Can you see? Let me turn him around. He's got a little tail and little heels. Oh, he can dance. Oh, it's Strictly, isn't it? I do miss my mum. My mum absolutely loves Strictly. If ever she went to the hospital and the nurse or anybody said, "And how are you, Mrs. Hutton?" Oh, she said, "I'm practicing." And they'd say, she was 96, "Practicing for what?" "Oh, Strictly." So Strictly was a huge part of her life, and it started last week. So I must admit I watched it with a tear in my eye. Anyway, that's 20 minutes. So, yes, he's got darling little, he can dance on Strictly, look, and a little tail. There's 6 stitches that you leave there, and you just pick them up afterwards. This is a baby alpaca that he's knitted in, so he's got a lovely halo. And so he's going to be stuffed, and I'm going to, well, I might knit him some dungarees, I'll see. But I'm thinking of knitting him a blue belt and maybe a few fish hanging down, because he's, you know, when he fancies it, he's a good cook and he likes to cook. So, yes, he's been a great treasure. I've enjoyed knitting him, sitting up in bed when I felt a bit better. And he's been my chum. So I'll let you know how he goes on next time. Yes. Well, you could go down there, couldn't you? Oh, no. This is it, you see. People call them toys. They're not toys. They have a life. Well, I suppose toys have a life, don't they? But you do... Oh, no. Oh. Okay. Say goodbye then. Right, so, this is it. Now I'll show you what I've been doing. I changed my wool. So I'm knitting have I written it in my book? I think I have. I hope I have. Calypso sweater. Started it on September the 12th. I used robin. Oh, that's another thing. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Don't let me forget. I used spin cycle yarns, robin's egg, and I was going to use the wool she suggested, which is Rowan felted tweed, and I bought a sort of creamy colour to go with, but I wasn't quite sure. And so I decided they say it's a sport weight, which for English, or, you know, for us over here, that's a heavy 4-ply. Okay, sport weight. It's a new thing for me to get my head round, but I've got round it now. A heavy 4-ply. And I went with, in the end, it's all new for me, Yarnadelic. Can you see that colour? It's a beautiful, beautiful wool. And one of my favourite places is Linton. We used to go there on holiday every year, 2 or 3 times we'd pop down there. We absolutely love Linton. And this, John Arbon, is in Linton. And he's got 100-year-old mill. All his machinery is very, very old, and he's a real character. I don't know if you know John Arbon, but he's worth looking up, and his wool is beautiful. This is coming out blue, but yes, on screen it looks blue, but in real life it's teal. It's much more green, but it's also, well, it's a teal colour. Let's put it like that. That looks blue, doesn't it? But it's this colour, which is my favourite colour as well as blue. And it's 100% Falklands Corrierdale. And it's called Of My Hands. I don't know if it says it actually on there, sport weight heavy. I don't know if he names his wool after songs as well. But anyway, I can recommend that. It's lovely to knit with. Well, what am I doing? I'm doing this Calypso sweater. And a Calypso sweater is knitted top down. Never done it. I've knitted since I was 16. I'm now 74. And I've never really stopped knitting. You can imagine how many I've never knitted top down. We never had heard of it. But of course, it's all the rage now. And I think from people from Europe and from America and, New Zealand and Australia, they knit things top down. So I thought, well, I'm going to have a bash. Now, there's 2 things that I've learned. I mustn't forget to tell you about this. Spin cycle, robin's egg, 100% American wool. Yeah, made from sheep to skein, spin cycle yarns. And the ladies started originally spinning it themselves, but I think now the demand is so much it is done on a machine. But that's what I use. So top down. Now there's things that make top down. I've learned quite a lot just from doing, I haven't finished, I've just, had a go. I'm going to knit the sleeves. I was watching a lady who knits top down, and she said she always knits the sleeves on a half a size bigger needle, because otherwise it can be a bit tight. Well, of course, you don't get that when you knit, up that way and you cast on enough, and no, that's fine. If knitting flat, they call it. I'm going to be joining the stitches here and knitting down, and knitting in that small circle. You can do it a little bit too tight. So I've bought some DPNs, and I'm going to use the half size bigger. The other thing that's a game changer with knitting down is these stitch holding cords. Now, the stitch holding cords, I got these from Yarn Works in this little pack, and they're on at the minute, so I'll show you them. And they're like a thin rubber tube, and you put your needle, let me see if I can show you if you haven't used it. Right, here's the tube. Here's the tube. You put your needle in there, and it doesn't slip off. So when you put your stitches on hold, instead of, put them on a hold, when you've got a lot of stitches, well, if you thread a piece of, how we used to do, maybe a piece of wool or something like that, it's quite hard to pick the stitches up. But with this, all you do, let me show you, is, well, let me show you on this end. It's not pulled tight, that's why. There we are, I've just pulled it. All you do is do that, and your needle will take it through as quick as, you saw how quickly I did that. And then when you want to pull them, get them back on or pull them off, you just pull it that way and it slides. It doesn't look, and you just release it. Easy peasy, and it doesn't slip while it's in there, so it's not going to slip out. So they've been a game changer. So that means you can try your sweater on as you're knitting it. See if it's long enough, see if it fits, see if your armholes are in the right place. I've never done this. So this is as far as I've got. What do you think? So the dark blue or teal is this that goes all the way through, and then the spin cycle obviously is all the other colour. I'm not keen on this brown band. I mean, there's a little bit of brown in there, but I didn't think, anyway, Pete said it looks nice. It adds to it. Well, if it adds to it or not, I'm not sure, but this is a learning curve. Now, one thing I did learn is you cast on, knit three or four rows, I can't remember, do your picot edge, easy peasy, then you turn it over, and then you knit through the stitch of that row there. I wouldn't do that next time. I would just knit more rows, and then I would whip stitch that down, because you can get it really flat and in the right place. Whereas when you've only got a few stitches on a round, a long needle, it's quite hard to get that in the right place. I think I'm happy with it. I have washed this, I'll show you. It's all right. So this is where I divide for the sleeves. What you do is you just cast on 6 here, and I was watching a knitting podcast, and they said you knit round here. Well, I can't remember now, so that'll be when I get to the sleeves. So there for my sleeves, all on my cords, which don't slip. And then I've put the bottom on the cords as well, so that I can show you and try it on. That's my centre front. Shall I slip it on? Yeah, so, well, we'll see. I'll see if I'm really, really pleased with it. And well, you'll see the end result, won't you? Let me see, that's the front with my little marker on. It's a bit awkward to get on because, oh, there we are. Because it's short at the back, nothing to pull down. Oh, no, it's there. With a collar. What do you think? I've knitted down to there. Plenty of room, isn't there? Didn't want it too loose because I think these yokes need to fit. But there is plenty there. So that's just straight knitting down to the bottom. And then I knit the sleeves. I was a bit miffed. That was the other thing. I did size 3. And for my size, literally, I needed the 3 rows. It said 2 balls of wool, which is expensive. 3 rows to break into this. But, well, it's one of those things. I could put a pattern around the sleeve, but I don't think I will. I'm just going to leave that to speak for itself. Do you see what I mean about the brown? I'm not sure. Well, it is what it is. So, I mean, well, that's pretty precious, really. And I have seen another pattern that I really like, but I don't want to use the same colour. So Pete said, well, that would make a lovely hat for him because he doesn't like, double knitting hats. And so we'll see. If I've got any of this left over, I think it would make a really nice, unusual, maybe a Fair Isle hat. And I could just use, I'll see. There's lots of things I can do with it. But I was miffed just for 3 rows, those last little bits there. Well, I was thinking of, but I'd wound it up, so I couldn't think. I'd wound it up. So I've got that in my stash to use another time. But I might look out for that brown, you see. That brown there seems to be this. That's fine. But this, well, you see where I'm hesitant. So let me know what you think. My first top down. What do you think? And then, well, I was watching Andrea Mowry being in bed, with shingles. And her episode showed her, somebody had asked about spinning wool. And I used to spin my own wool and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But we downsized and, well, where do you keep, I mean, my house, it's got rather a lot in it now. Where do you keep it? And yes, I thought I'd come to the end of it. And so I parted with it, which I'm really sorry about now. However, she showed me, or she didn't show me, she showed her viewers this e-spinner. And it's about this big. And you plug it in. And of course, John Arbon, so many people now do the tops, what they call tops. And then I could easily spin that myself. And I got quite excited. And I looked them up and they're not big at all. And they're just set on the side, really. And then just a little bit and ply it together. So I'm not doing it at the minute. No hasty buying, but I'm really thinking about it seriously. Well, I think I better go now. It says 44, and that's long enough. So I'll leave the fascinating fact for next time. And I'll say cheerio. Well, it's been mostly about knitting and about popping to Buckingham Palace. It's a nice memory for him. He thoroughly enjoys it. Just to knock on that, well, not even knock on the side door. Beep, beep. Oh, show the bit of paper, off you go. And then he came home, I remember. I went inside Buckingham Palace and, yeah, it was, well, quite something. And just about my knitting. So I'm happy to be feeling well enough to come and say hello. It'll be October before I see you again. And what else? I hope you're all right. And I do send my kind regards and best wishes to you all. And I think I'll do my fascinating fact next time. It's about a slug. Yeah, I don't want to give myself too much to do. So I'm going to put a little film up at the end of, well, I suppose it's the last days of summer, isn't it, really? The lovely sunshine here in the southeast and people enjoying themselves, and going round this morning and seeing people feeding the donkeys. It was lovely. So I'm happy to be out now, and thank you for your well wishes. And yeah, I'll see you next time. You take care. Bye-bye.
Straight cruising, headed for a bruising, watching out for number one. You gotta slow down and look around you, son. Today is just today and not tomorrow. Where you're going, you can rest your head. Where you're going, brightness looks big. Where you're going, truth cannot be hid. You gotta get going. Easy now. You gotta get going. Easy now. Be hard working so you can be deserving of the rest that you are given. You gotta slow down and look around you, son. Give a lot and live a little. Work with what you got. Where you're going, you can rest your head. Where you're going, brightness looks big. Where you're going, truth cannot be hid. You gotta get going. Easy now. You gotta get going. Easy now. Get along, give a hand, sleep heavy, be the man. Just there, where you are, do something, be the star.